Great day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Sargent here, and welcome back to another science video. And this week I am so excited because we're talking about vertebrates and invertebrates and living. Oh, man, I'm hungry. How am I supposed to teach? How am I supposed to entertain? How am I supposed to do this on an empty stomach? Makes you think, how do living things get what they need for food? Maybe we can figure that out this week. Our focus this week is going to be on food chains. And this is how living things get their food. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back and let's learn. Now, if you're anything like me, you can't wait to get home after a hard day of school and get a snack or get ready for dinner. And I think about some of my favorite foods. Oh my goodness, you know Mr. Sargent loves his food. Now, depending on what we have for dinner, sometimes we just have a salad, sometimes we have burgers and fries, sometimes we have pizza, sometimes we have a full course meal. Do you ever wonder where the food comes from? Do you ever wonder where we fit in what we call a food chain? Now, a food chain, well, it's all about energy. It's all about energy going from one thing to another. Now, if you remember the definition of energy, energy is the power that gives us life, the power that gives us the ability to move, to talk, to dance. It gives us energy. And all living things need energy, whether it's a vertebrate, whether it's an invertebrate, it doesn't matter. Everything needs energy. But where does it start? Well, ladies and gentlemen, our investigation this week is going to be talking and focusing on where all this energy comes from. And we can start in one place. Now, if we're talking about a food chain, now when you think about a chain is interlinking links all connected together. You take away one part of that chain, the chain falls apart. But it holds together to make a chain. Energy is like that as well. We have things in our world that we get our energy from, and we're all connected in a certain way. Now, for the most part, we as humans are at the far end of the link. We're the last link in this food chain. But where does it begin? Where does everything get its energy from on Earth? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look right here, we have the sun. Now, the sun produces so much energy. And if you remember from our plant unit, plants can't grow without the sun. All right? So those plants gain the energy from the sun and they produce their own food. That's kind of a good name for them. Let's call them producers. Now, these producers produce their own sugars, they produce their own food. All they need is a little water, soil, and, of course, the sun. So after producers, we have, I know there are some animals out there that eat plants, like this bunny rabbit. Oh, so cute. This bunny rabbit eats plants, eats the producers. What could we call this bunny rabbit? How about an herbivore? Anything that eats just plants, we can call an herbivore. But there's another name we can call it, and that is consumer. This primary consumer, or the first consumer, eats plants, and it gains energy from eating the plants. Now, does it gain all the energy that the plants got from the sun? No. That's why they have to keep eating. But in order for this consumer to move around, to jump around, ladies and gentlemen, you got to get its energy from somewhere. Why not from a producer? And then we have something called a secondary consumer. Now, the secondary consumer will get its energy from eating, well, the primary consumer. See, it's all connected. It's still getting the energy from the plant, but it's getting the energy from the plant through the primary consumer and then getting its energy. Now, it consistently needs to eat. When we think about primary or secondary consumers, we think about hawks, we think about wolves, we think about these things that need to hunt in order to get its food. Now, an animal that only eats meat, well, that's called a carnivore. Now, there are some animals that eat both plants and meat. Well, like us. We eat both plants and meat. We are called omnivores. We pretty much eat anything. Now, for us to get the energy we need every day, we need to have a nice balanced diet. Now, there are some people out there that eat only vegetables. That's good. They get a lot of energy from those vegetables, but we also get other things from eating meat as well. So, it's okay to be an herbivore. It's okay to be an omnivore. It's okay to be a carnivore if you're a carnivore out there and only eat meat. But the biggest thing is, when we're talking about this food chain, ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember it's all about energy. Now, usually the last part of the food chain ends with something different, but all food chains end with something. You start off with the energy source of the sun, you go to your producers, and then you go to your consumers. But at the end, there's always something, because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't use all the energy that we gain from eating our food. Sometimes some of it goes to waste. Now, to help clean up this waste, we have decomposers. Now, decomposers, they're bacteria, they're fungi. They break down all the waste and they get their energy that way. Pretty cool. It cleans up the waste. See, everything, ladies and gentlemen, in the food chain is connected. And that's the one thing you got to remember. Now, later on this week, we're going to be talking about what happens when you break a food chain. It's not good, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll talk about that another time. Now, to close this video, go ahead and review a little bit with vocabulary. So here you go.
It's the food chain. There's chain. Everything's got eat. All things need energy to live. It starts with the sun, cause it's got a lot to give. Shine a light on the plants which the animals eat, and that's how we get the energy that we need. Come on. All things need energy to live. It starts with the sun, cause it's got a lot to give. Shine a light on the plants which the animals eat, and that's how we get the energy that we need. It's the food chain. Everything's gotta eat. Everything's gotta eat. It's the food chain. We all need energy, that's not a new thing. Right. So I'm here to talk about the food chain. Okay. It starts with the sun, giving energy to plants, right. And the animals eat them and do a little dance. Go. And you might think, if you're talking about a food chain, what are the links? Well, we're all connected by the food that we eat. What's gross to you, to another could be a treat. So each living thing is a link in the chain, and they pass along the energy that they contain. Yeah. For an example, let's take grass. A grasshopper eats that up pretty fast, which is eaten by a rat. The rat by a snake, which a hawk eats swooping in on its lunch break. Or how about plankton? The shrimp eat them up and they don't even bother to thank them. Fish eat the shrimp, bigger fish will eat that, which a bear will catch cause it's trying to get fat. Or a chicken eats corn, which a human will take and eat fried, grilled, sauteed, or baked. Yeah. The animal that gets eaten is called prey. The animal that hunts prey is a predator. Hey, so that's a lesson you can take from me to learn about the food chains. Hope you're not hungry. I am. All things need energy to live. It starts with the sun, cause it's got a lot to give. Shine a light on the plants which the animals eat, and that's how we get the energy that we need. Come on. All things need energy to live. It starts with the sun, cause it's got a lot to give. Shine a light on the plants which the animals eat, and that's how we get the energy that we need. Okay, a key fact about a food chain is if something happens to a link, the whole thing changes. Like if all the rats died, what about the snakes? That's a lot less food for them to put on their plates, so they would go hungry. Their numbers would shrink. What happens after that? What do you think? I don't know. The hawks in the sky start to die cause they need energy from the snakes so they can fly. Right. And it goes both ways, like if all the hawks died, the population of snakes would grow, cause there's no hawks to eat them. But then there wouldn't be enough rats to feed them. We can put things in the food chain into groups, because they have things in common, that's true. First is producers, the plants, you know, producing energy from the sun to grow. Next is consumers. What do they do? Eat other plants and animals, they can't make their own food. What else? Don't forget decomposers, bacteria and fungi. You might know this. They eat decayed matter and return it to the dirt, which the plants use, and that's how a food chain works. Are there lots of food chains? You bet, and they all link up to make a food web. Everything's gotta eat.
I want to thank all of you for joining me today. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you for participating in class today, and until the next time I see you, I hope you have a great night.